it, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So anyone coming to Mayapur from this class? I know Gunashri Mataji, Atish Prabhu and Jyotilakshmi Mataji coming. What about others? Anybody else is coming? Don't miss this opportunity. It's a wonderful opportunity to go to the Dham with devotees. So you can always think about it. And next week, those who are in Mangalore near can come for Janmashtami. And then Prabhupada Vyas Puja. Okay. So slokas, please, by next week, I want because I need to update everything. Along with your closed book, I have to give the sloka marks also. Many have done nicely. Others, some were struggling. That's okay. I understand, because 14 slokas, it's not easy. But it's good for you, like for preaching, it helps. So here it is said that there are different visions. Like last time we discussed Charma Chakshus, Jnana Chakshus, Divya Chakshus, and Shastra Chakshus. And also material vision is to see separate identities due to different material bodies. And a mature vision is to see how beings are in the same spiritual nature, like they are all spirit, soul, expanded everywhere. But such vision, one attains to the Brahman platform. So in the purport, Prabhupada mentions, in the material concept of life, we find someone a demigod, someone a human, dog, cat, etc. But that's material vision, not actual vision. The material differentiation is due to the material conception of life. After the destruction of the material body, the spirit soul is one. And the spirit soul, due to contact with material nature, gets different types of body. Karanam guna sangha asya. When one can see this, he attains spiritual vision. So, Pandita Samadarshina, right? He sees everyone equal because he sees the Paramatma in everyone. He sees the Atma, the soul. But we're not able to see like that. We have material vision. We are seeing everyone like in the bodily concept. But a pure devotee doesn't see like that. Stavara Jangama Deke na Deke Taramurti, Sarvatra Deke Nija Ishta Deva Spurti. He doesn't see whether they are moving or not moving. He sees everything as Krishna's expansion. Like yesterday was Balram Purnima. How many of you, by seeing the moon, remembered Krishna? It says Nakshatrana Maham Shashi, Krishna says. Only Sunita Mataji? The moon was beautiful yesterday, no? It's Purnima, it's full moon. And just see the moon, and did you really think of Krishna? Good. Only few. Okay. Prabhupada says, so you're advancing. Those who really could see the moon and appreciate that as Krishna's energy, then you are advancing, Prabhupada mentions. Okay, so here, not only the moon and sun and everything, but then seeing the people, like seeing the living entities as part and parcel of Krishna, or seeing them as spirit soul. That is what is saying that we should have mature vision, not material vision. Anaditva nirgunatva paramatmayam avyaya Sharira sto api kaunteya nakaroti na lipyate. Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. Okay, so neither does anything nor is entangled. Okay, but why is it said the soul doesn't do anything? Soul neither does anything nor is entangled. But if the soul is actually desiring, na? Like if you want to, I want to do something, I'm desiring for it, right? Okay, I'll admit everyone. But why is it said the soul is... yes, Suma Mataji.
Mataji, soul being the part and parcel of the Lord is pure in its nature, Mataji.
Yeah, so...
Like
the only the part and parcel of Krishna.
Only the subtle elements like mind, intelligence, ego are being contaminated, Mataji, not the soul, Mataji. Krishna, I'm not sure, Mataji.
Okay. So that means soul is not the doer.
Soul remains untouched, Mataji, or by all these contaminations. That's what I understand, Mataji.
And then it is mentioned, nor it is entangled. Soul is not entangled, it is also said. No? Okay. Is Madhu Mataji?
Soul only desires, Mataji, and the doer is through the material nature. So
and who sanctions it?
Super soul sanctions.
Yes. So super soul has to sanction it, right? Just us desiring. See, we all can desire to become millionaires and billionaires. Right? We all can desire to live in the dham forever. We can all desire to be like pure devotee. Anything we can desire under the sun, anything. But does everything happens? No. Sanctioning has to be done by, even if material nature is ready to do it for us, but sanctioning has to come. Like if you want leave from your company and the supervisor agrees and everything, but the boss have to sign, he has to approve. If he doesn't approve, nothing happens. Similarly, the super soul has to sanction. The soul can desire, but the super soul has to sanction. So here, yes, based on our desires, we get entangled. Like more and more desires, we get entangled. Today I was reading Bhagavatam. So there Prabhupada mentions, like Krishna says, Yoga Kshema Vahamiham. But not for everyone. Why? For those who have limited life, in the sense, limited desires. If you want big car and big things and so much wealth and everything, then you say Yoga Kshema Vahamiham, Krishna will provide. That's not how it works. And Ananya Chindami, you should be nice devotee of Krishna. So Krishna takes care of everyone, but our desires should not be more than what we are supposed to. Okay. So here, the super soul have to sanction. Okay. And the soul is eternal, changeless, nevertheless, because of being in the material body, does the soul combine with it and can contaminate it. And Krishna says the two analogies, the soul does not mix with matter. The soul is situated in Brahman vision. Okay. It stays aloof. Though situated in the material body, just as the sky, although all-pervading, doesn't mix with anything due to its subtle nature. And the soul eliminates the entire body by consciousness, just as sun alone eliminates the whole universe. The soul doesn't mix with matter. That's what it is said. And Falashruti is those who sees with the eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature attained to the supreme goal. Okay, so the soul is situated in Brahman vision, stays aloof, although situated in the material body. Any other example you can think about? Although in the material body, the soul is aloof. What is the example? Although in the material body, a pure devotee is still liberated.
Lotus in the
Lotus leaf, Padma Patram Ivambasha, that's a nice example. What else?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu.
The copra, the coconut copra, that is, it gets the matured coconut, no?
The dry
we call
coconut.
it as copra.
Good, very
it's
good.
Dry
Yes.
coconut, yeah.
At least somebody is listening in the class. I told this long back, this example. Yes, the dry coconut, very good example. So, although situated in the material body, it still stays aloof. In the sense, the dry coconut, although within the shell, still it is not attached to the shell. Now, you all have broken a dry coconut, but at least seen. So, does the dry coconut need to be grated out from the shell? No. You cut open the dry coconut shell, the coconut is just out. And you can see nicely how it is detached. You can just shake the coconut and see that sound will come, that hard sound. That means the dry coconut is inside the shell, but it's not attached to the shell. Similarly, here it is said, pure devotees are inside the material body, but not attached to the body. Or the soul is situated in the Brahman vision, but aloof through, so those situated in the material body, he's aloof. Okay, so we should, that's what Prabhupada mentions here, that it is aloof from all material contamination. Okay, so 32 to 35, he is mentioning about the soul, how our vision should be. Yata sarva gadam sakshmyat akasham no palipyate sarvatra vastito dehe tadatma no palipyate. The sky, due to subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, although situated body. The soul situated in, okay, does not mix, okay, although in the body. So that's the example given. Yada prakashyati eka Krishnam lokam imam ravi Kshetram Kshetri tata Krishnam Prakashayadhi Bharata, O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity. One within the body illuminates the entire body by consciousness. That's the difference between living body and a dead body, right? The consciousness. So we can't see the sun during cloudy days. Doesn't mean the sun is not there. It's there. How do we know? Because of sunlight. Similarly, the presence of the soul, we may not be able to see the soul, but then we can appreciate through its consciousness. Subtle elements considered as matter. Actually, mind, intelligence, and false ego, it travels. Yeah, when the soul leaves the body, that also travels. So it is not material as such. It's not matter as such. But then it is neither completely spiritual, because mind can get contaminated. When the mind has Krishna in it, then it's spiritual, right? The mind, because all the problems are happening because of the mind, right? So intelligence can get contaminated if somebody is a terrorist, he uses the intelligence in a wrong way. So in that way, the mind, intelligence and false ego can sometimes trick us. And then, yes, it leaves when the body also leaves, when the soul leaves the body, okay? So the example given is about the sun. The sun illuminates the whole world. Similarly, the consciousness illuminates the whole body. Okay. And what are the different types of consciousness? Different levels. Anyone know? Different levels of consciousness? No?
Annamaya, Jnanamaya,
And last is? Anandamaya. So Annamaya, just have a conscious of the body, only thinking of eating, that's it. And Jivabaya is also called Pranamaya, just know that we are taking in air or just having life. And then Jnanamaya, the knowledge comes, or right? And Vijnanamaya, the real knowledge between matter and spirit about soul comes. Anandamaya Abhyasya, in the sense, devotional consciousness or Krishna consciousness, which is the highest. And the last sloka says, Kshetra Kshetrayor evam Antaram Jnana Chakshusha Buddha Pragade Moksham Cha Yevi Duryam Dite Param. Those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage and material nature, attain to the supreme goal. So the questions are answered: Kshetra, Kshetratnya, Jnana, Jnayam, and Prakriti and Purusha in this chapter. So here it is said, those who know the difference between body and the knower of the body, and understand the process of liberation from this bondage of material nature, they attain the supreme goal. Let's go back home, back to Krishna. So here in the summary, the purport of the 13th chapter is that one should know the distinction between body and the owner of the body and the supersoul. One should recognize the process of liberation also. And then one can go on to the supreme destination. Because this material world is working by conjunction of the soul and the 24 elements, that's a Mahat Tattva. And one who can see the constitution of the whole material manifestation as a combination of soul and material elements can also see the situation of the super soul, becomes eligible for transfer to the spiritual world. These things are meant for the contemplation and for the realization. And one should have a complete understanding of this chapter, will help for the spiritual matter. Okay. So this is a breakout room here. You can't do it in a picture form, but last time they drew. Okay. Identifying the main philosophical concept and section of verses and how they connect from chapter 13. Main philosophy. After the breakout room, I'll post the attendance link because many people run away after that. After getting the attendance. So after the breakout room, I'll post the attendance. Okay. From now onwards, it will be like that. Don't join after breakout room then. Because I might post in the breakout room also. The attendance. So chapter 13. Okay, go through identifying the main philosophical concept out of all these 6 questions and select the section of verses and how they are connecting. You can either put it in a picture form if possible, or else you can explain. But last time, Some of them have put in picture form. It was nice if you could put in a picture form. Okay, you want the question in the chat? I'll put it in the chat. I hope you got the
Didn't get the
question.
question, Mataji.
The summary, just a summary of chapter 13. You have to identify the main philosophical points and the verses, and you should say how they are connecting.
Okay, ma'am.
How Krishna, what is the summary of this chapter 13, and identify the main philosophical concept. Now, so many concepts are explained in this chapter. Now, just identify the main points, and then section of the go through that verses and how they connecting. Then you can present. Hi Krishna. Hope all are back. We'll put the attendance link now. Okay. So it's all are ready to speak. 1 second, I'll just post the link. Okay, you cannot post the link. You can fill the form. Okay, so who's speaking from room number 1? I'll unmute everyone. Too short for preparing summary. It's just a brief, Prabhu, not like detailed summary, but a brief. Okay, whatever you prepare, like, oh, you want to do it in the next class?
No, we can do this now, whatever we have prepared, but can we schedule about 20 minutes next class for this presentation? We will prepare during this Bhakti Vriksha, our classes, our sessions.
That's a good idea. Why don't we all do it as a presentation next week? And you want to prepare during Bhakti Vriksha session, many wanted to do that. Okay. But anyone is done with the picture? Did anyone draw?
No, Mataji.
No?
I didn't even think of. We were tensed up to only find out the summary and making one Mataji note down.
Okay, that is from
note down.
So Chinnaswamy Ganeshan Prabhu was in room number 2. What about the other room? Room 1 and 2?
Madhu Mataji found something, Mataji.
Then I want to see. That's what I'm waiting for. Where is Madhu Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, I'm here.
Yeah, you can start.
Yes, Mataji. First 7 shlokas tells about the knower, that is the field and the knower of the field. That is about this one, Prakriti, Purusha, and the field and the knower of the field, Kshetra, Kshetrajna. Then in the third shlokas, they will tell that the who understands the knower of the body, and to understand the body and the knower is called the knowledge, that is Jnana. Then in the fifth shloka, it tells about the stages of Brahman realization, that is Brahmaputra. So then from the 8th to 13th, it will tell about how we can acquire the knowledge by having humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, and then having a bona fide spiritual masters. Those tell about the process of knowledge. And then it is about the object of knowledge, that is the knowing the super soul. So that is the object of knowledge. We should know how that is beginless, and we can find everywhere. His hands and legs are everywhere. Eyes, hands, faces, and so all those things we can find out. And, Mataji? So all
sorry, Mataji. Yes.
All pervasiveness of the super soul can be understood by the when we realize the object of knowledge.
Okay.
Then is the Prakriti and Purusha and their union. So we have to understand that who is the self, what is the super soul, and we should understand that Krishna is the super enjoyer of everything, and they give that to understand that Brahman realization or anything, we should have the understanding of all these things, what all the terms has been given, and the process to understand that, and that can be got by either Jnana or Ashtanga Yoga. Then is Gnana Chakshusa, which was covered today, Mataji. That is knowing the relationship between the body, owner, and our activities and the super soul.
Okay.
In brief, I could understand.
Analogy, Mataji.
And the analogy is
Did you draw something?
Mataji?
Did you draw something?
No, Mataji. Analogy
You
is
can
the
show.
Krishna Mataji, that
What is it?
the analogy was that a citizen knows only his patch of land, but whereas the Lord will know not only his palace, but the possessions of all the citizens of the under his jurisdiction. That is, we should understand him as a Purusha, or that is his object of knowledge.
Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
What about the other room? That is from room number 1, room number 3. Or
Krishna Mataji. I'm from room number 3, Mataji.
yes, Prabhu.
Till 12th chapter, Mataji, we studied about the Bhakti Yoga. From 13th chapter onwards, Krishna gives the knowledge about what is Kshetra, Kshetragna, then Purusha and Prakriti. So in verse 8 to 12, he gives knowledge about the qualities of the body, Mataji. 14 to 18, the quality of the super soul.
Yes.
20 to 26 verse, it's a Prakriti and Purusha. And 27 to 35 is the vision of knowledge, Mataji. And in the last verse, that is 35, he mentions that the one who sees the eyes of knowledge and difference between the body and the knower of the body can understand the process of liberation. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
An analogy is, Mataji, the field and the knower, king, Mataji.
What's the analogy?
We know the king knows the entire the kingdom of Mataji. This analogy. Kshetra and Kshetra.
Can you be a little louder, Prabhu?
Means if there is a large field, Mataji.
Yes.
The owner knows about his field, Mataji. Yeah, that is analogy. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Hare Krishna. So room number 2 needs time, or they like to do a presentation?
No, Mataji, we are, Penaja Mataji will present. Penaja Mataji?
Yeah, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mataji, we noted some points.
Kshetrajna.
Yeah, Prabhu.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, Prabhu. Lord Krishna, continuing his discourse on the nature of existence and his transcendence, Krishna outlines the 3 elements of the existence in the beginning of the shlokas of this chapter. So he explains the distinction between a body as the field and the self as the knower of the field. So he being the self who is present in all the fields or the bodies. So that analogy of a king and the citizen explains the supremacy of Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna further explains the field, or he describes the nature, the body and the entire the physical world that includes the different elements, 5 elements and the senses. The 5 elements that include the standard of 4 of earth, air, fire, and water, and the 5th of ether and the space, then other 10 elements. So these things, and further Lord explains the soul is entangled and it thinks it is the proprietor due to this entanglement with the material. All it's doing with the influence of 3 modes of material nature, that's all. But later Lord explains the qualities of the pure devotees, like humility, pridelessness, non-violence, and slokas 8 from 8 to 12, it speaks about unallied devotion. And later 13th shloka explains the object of the knowledge is a supreme reality and the supreme sense. So it's a process of knowing the knower. By the knowledge of the knower, both the soul and the super soul, that one can release the nectar of a life. For then other shlokas explains the Lord is all pervading, and even though super soul appears to be divided, he is one, and he is present in all our hearts as a Chaitya Guru. Then he is the source of the light in our luminous object like sun, moon, and stars. So he's the knowledge, object of the knowledge, and he's the goal of the knowledge. So a wise person who knows the self is ultimately separate from the nature and the body, like he attains the devotional service of the Lord.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Okay. So, okay. Yeah, summary, it takes time, but that's okay. Presentation, anyway, we'll think about it because now we don't have much time for presentation by the devotees. But then, yes, we do have presentation in Bhakti Vaibhav actually. Okay. And we'll have some, it'll be nice, some group activity for presentations can be done. But we have to finish the module first. So let's finish fast. And then we'll start. So next week we'll start with 14th chapter. But till then, whoever didn't complete the slokas, please do send the slokas as soon as possible. Okay. Yeah, anything to add? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Sunita Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Your name is knowable, no Mataji. Is it only spirit or name?
No, all. Spirit, matter, knowable.
Knowable.
Huh?
Yes.
Like we need to know about the real knowledge is to know about matter and spirit, no?
Yes. So,
that is real knowledge. That's it.
In this shloka, it is called Brahman or the spirit, which lies beyond the cause and effect. Brahman, that is spirit, which lies beyond the cause and effect. In that shloka, it is mentioned only about the spirit only. Neyam.
Neyam is actually both, actually, spirit. Like if you know spirit means you know matter also, no? Unless you don't know matter, you won't be able to understand spirit. Like Krishna says, I kamshena sthido jagat. This material world is 1/4 of his all energy. But so unless we know the 1/4, we won't be able to know the 3/4, which is the spiritual world. So similarly, okay, knowledge of the soul is important, but along with that, knowledge of matter also comes. Like God realization is not possible without self-realization. Unless you know your spirit soul, part and parcel of the Lord, you won't be able to understand the Lord. So it is said, Prabhupada said, like both self-realization and God realization goes hand in hand. Similarly, to know between matter and spirit, the soul and material things, it's together. Unless you know this, you won't be able to know that. So it happens together, Mataji. Suma Mataji not able to mark attendance. Rest everyone could mark. Mataji, you want the link again?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji. I was not able to mark, Mataji.
Why? Everyone could mark.
Mataji, by that time, actually, I just closed this window, Mataji. That's.
Yeah, you can post now.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
So after 14th chapter, we'll start the first open book assessment of module 3. Just exam, what to do? Because there's no final exam now for Bhakti Shastri. So we have to give exam. So it doesn't matter, you get less mark, more mark, it doesn't matter. What really matters is you have to attend the exam. That is very important. What happens, most of them, they leave the course because of this exam. That's why Ravishya Prabhu made a course which have no exam, that is called Bhakti Sataja. where you can just come, attend and go. And they're not interested in exam and studying and everything. But I'll tell you, those who study for exam, they will retain some theory. Others, they just do for time pass. They come, listen and go. Just goes through this. But when we have exam, when we study, some things come into your brain or just goes inside and you start analyzing and reproducing it. No, that's good actually. Exams are good so that it makes the students serious also. And those who are preaching can take this as an opportunity. When you preach, so many things we studied in Bhakti Shastri can be used. Okay. Okay, I think we can stop here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare